For months, the key sat in the drawer. Small. Ordinary, but heavier than it looked. Every morning, she'd see it when she reached for her notebook, and every morning, she'd close the drawer and tell herself, "Not today, maybe tomorrow." The key opened the door of her old apartment, the one she left the night everything fell apart. Back then, she promised herself she'd never go back. Too many memories, too much silence, too many ghosts of who she used to be. But lately, the thought had been quieter, less painful, almost like the key was whispering, "It's time." One rainy afternoon, she finally picked it up. It felt strange in her hand, like holding a memory that still had a heartbeat. She took the long way there, past the cafe where she used to write, past the bookstore that still had her favorite chair. Every step felt like walking through a photograph. When she reached the building, the lights flickered in the hallway, the same hum in the ceiling she remembered. The same old smell of paint and dust. Time hadn't changed much, but she had. Her hand trembled as she put the key in. It stuck for a second, then turned with a soft click, like an exhale that had waited too long. The door opened to dust, sunlight cutting through in perfect lines, and the faint sound of her heartbeat catching up to the moment. The place was smaller than she remembered, but it wasn't haunted. It was empty and ready. She stood in the doorway, unsure if she should enter or leave. Then she realized both choices meant forward. Starting over wasn't about erasing what happened here. It was about coming back differently. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The air smelled like endings and beginnings mixing, the way rain smells when it hits dry ground. She opened the windows, watched the curtains move like a slow inhale, and smiled. She didn't need to rebuild everything, just enough to feel alive again. That night, she wrote one line on the wall with chalk. "I'm not who I was, and that's my favorite part." Then she placed the key on the table, not to forget it, but to remind herself she could always open new doors. If this story found you tonight, remember, starting over isn't a sign of failure. It's proof you were brave enough to begin again. Sometimes the key isn't to escape, it's to return with new eyes. Subscribe to the mindshiftlab for more stories that turn psychology into emotion and emotion into courage. Come back next week, where we'll keep exploring how endings become entrances, one story at a time.